From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, December 11th, 2016. Silver is trading at $16.90 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,160 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 0.8 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $773. Antiwar.com reports the Syrian rebels are on the brink of outright military defeat in Aleppo, and despite a good chunk of them being al-Qaeda fighters, the U.S. has branded them so heavily as moderate rebels that the loss is adding to the sense that the rebellion as such is a lost cause. While the Islamic State still has substantial territory, al-Qaeda and friends hold a shrinking amount of territory, and that territory is less and less relevant. It appears the factions are headed for the status of rural-based insurgency, but Saudi Arabia and their allies are expected to keep arming them. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and even Turkey have invested a lot of money in backing regime change in Syria, and even if regime change is out of reach, they don't appear to see an alternative but to double down and keep the fighting going in whatever form they can muster. That's less true of the U.S., however, with President-elect Donald Trump expected to shift away from arming the rebels outright and focus on fighting against the Islamic State, even potentially coordinating with Russia in that fight. The Saudis aren't going to go along with them, however. The Stop Arming Terrorists Act could seem at that further as explicit U.S. policy, formally banning U.S. government funding for al-Qaeda, the Islamic State, or any of their allies. Since the Saudis aren't going to stop such funding, the bill would also aim to limit U.S. government support for them as well. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports the Obama administration strongly believes missing American journalist Austin Tice is alive in Syria, according to Senator John Cornyn on Friday. Tice, a freelance journalist, disappeared while reporting in Syria on August 14, 2012, but Senator Cornyn of Texas said presidential envoy for hostage affairs James C. O'Brien has high confidence he is still alive. Tice remains the only American journalist still held captive in Syria, according to Reporters Without Borders, which launched a hashtag Free Austin Tice social media campaign, including an online petition which has gathered over 150,000 signatures. When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire. You can help by going to libertylobby.xyz, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. The UK Guardian reports Edward Snowden has been the subject of several high-profile appeals this year, calling on Barack Obama to pardon the NSA whistleblower and allow him to return home to the U.S. Writers, intelligence experts, film stars, and tech tycoons have all joined the chorus. Now the most audacious display of support for Snowden is underway. Messages calling for his pardon were beamed on the outside of the wall of the Newseum, the Washington, D.C. institution devoted to freedom of speech and the press that stands less than 2 miles from the White House. The Saturday night event is a guerrilla action carried out without the knowledge or approval of the Newseum itself, though organizers of the stunt from the Pardon Snowden campaign are hoping they will be given a sympathetic reception. The campaign's director told The Guardian before the event, "We sincerely hope that the Newseum supports what we are doing as an affirmation of the significance of a free press." Almost 4,000 messages backing Snowden's decision to expose mass government surveillance of emails and phone calls have been gathered by the campaign from across the U.S. and around the world. The messages were being projected onto the 74-foot-high marble tablet that is attached to the facade of the Newseum and which has the words of the First Amendment carved into it. Written in 1791 as part of the Bill of Rights, it states, "Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances." Saturday's action in Washington comes at a critical time for Snowden, who remains in exile in Russia, where he has been granted asylum, having been charged in the U.S. for offenses under the Espionage Act. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.